I was 2 days away from my gallbladder exploding. A combination of ChatGPT, supplements from my favourite company, Lily and Loaf, and Mounjaro pretty much saved my life. So, as you would have seen, on Friday, I was admitted to hospital. So, I'm going to go through the entire timeline. I'm going to tell you what happened, why it possibly happened, and how ChatGPT has helped, and how Mounjaro has certainly helped. So, sit down, make a cup of tea, get ready. This is likely to be a long one. Over the last 2-3 years, maybe even longer, I've had sporadic gas problems where I thought it was trapped wind. A pain would start in the middle of the day, say 6-7 o'clock in the evening. It would start in the back of my shoulder on the right hand side, maybe kind of middle of the back. And it wouldn't be huge. It would be one of those feelings where you're like, oh, I need to click my back. You know, I'm a bit uncomfortable. I'm sat a bit awkward. Initially, this would show up like once in a blue moon. And the pain would start and it would slowly go from aching to uncomfortable to awkward to repositioning. It would feel like a building of pressure, which is why I always thought it was trapped wind. And over time, dependent on if I was either sat or laying down, the pain would either be in my back or it would kind of come across here and radiate. What normally happened is I'd go to bed, I'd drink a load of water, I'd feel sorry for myself. It would be uncomfortable, and then by the time in the morning, I'd be fine. Over time, let's say I had one attack 4 or 5 years ago, then it'd be like 2 the following year, and then 3 the following year. Before I started taking Mounjaro, it would be like 1 or 2 a year. And as I said, I thought it was trapped wind. I thought it was a case of me being an idiot. It was me drinking too much fizzy pop, or me eating food too quickly, or whatever, right? Now, I'm one of those stereotypical blokes. I'll be honest, I'm scared of doctors. I lost my dad when I was 16, 17. Which means every time I went to the doctors or the GP, there was always bad news. You know, I'd also only ever had experiences in hospital where you'd visit your grandparents, and by the time you'd visited your grandparents, that was a stroke or a heart attack, or unfortunately, I identified my dad when he died. So, traumatic reasons why I didn't have good associations with these kind of environments. So I've always been very kind of scary and jumpy. Plus, as a fat person, every time you went to the doctors, it always felt like they was picking on you. Oh, okay. Oh, how's your knee? Yeah, your knee's hurting. That's because you're fat. Oh, how's your eyes causing you a problem? That's because you're fat. Oh, the world's economic crisis is because you're fat. It felt like there was always a diagnosis of because I'm obese or whatever the fuck, right? So I avoided doctors for ages. Plus, on the other side, I'm a bloke, where I'll tough it through. If there's pain, I'll deal with it. Has my arm fallen off? It's a mere scratch. I'll deal with it later. It'll grow back, right? The only reason I'm telling you this is hopefully you'll understand how much of the mental gymnastics I had to jump through to finally call for help on Friday morning, how much pain I must have been in. Now, over a period of time, I'd started doing a lot of research. Okay, where's the chest pain coming from? Everyone always worries about the word chest pain and you think heart attack, but you're like, no, this is on the right hand side, not the left hand side, and stuff like that. So over time, I was able to research the side effects of it all. Starts with chest pain, starts with back pain, radiates to chest pain. If you drink a lot of hot water and move around a bit more, you might either be sick, or I used to get to the point where, and now I understand, when I went to bed and woke up fine, what actually happens is you're passing a gallstone. And what a gallstone is your body uses the gallbladder to generate bile and break down slightly more fatty diets. So if you're eating normally, then it's fine. Now, this also isn't a fat person thing where, oh, you brought it on yourself. Because these kind of things, if you're going to get gallstones, you're going to get gallstones. It's kind of a pre-arranged kind of thing. Yes, you can make it more likely by what you eat and what you do and what you don't do and how active you are and that kind of thing. But in this case, I already had an existing issue when it came to the gallbladder, and stones started slowly backing up and slowly making their way in and out of my body. So what happened this time is I started researching using ChatGPT that, I either feel sick or I drink a lot of water, or if I walk around every now and then, there'll be this ping, which if you remember, I mentioned on this channel, there'll be like a ping, and then all of a sudden you feel weird and tingly and bleh. Well, what that is your gallbladder is about the size of 2 boiled eggs. It stores the bile, it excretes the bile into your body to help break down fatty stuff, and it regulates it. Now, if there's a stone in it, it can't get out. So either it builds up in pressure until it pushes the stone out, or it gets stuck and angry. And that's where the pain comes from. That's also where the radiating comes from. That's also why it creeps and why it grows, where it starts awkward and builds over time. So I ChatGPT'd it all. Out of that, it recommends, milk, thistle, uracolic acid, enzymes. That's the reason why I was using the lily and loaf stuff, and that has really helped. Now, the question here is, did the Mounjaro cause this? Did it make it worse? No and no. Mounjaro is very good at anti-inflammation. And losing weight also puts less strain on the gallbladder. So it was a combination of, after 40 years of me eating the way I was and having diet that I was, and me being predisposed for these kind of situations, plus, ironically, me being healthy and losing so much weight, dumping all that fat over time through the gallbladder, made the gallbladder more active over a period of time. So me losing weight and being healthier, which should have helped the gallbladder, made it busier, mixed with the Mounjaro, which is the anti-inflammatory. So it was actually balancing okay. And when I started taking the supplements from Lily and Loaf, I went from having a gallbladder issue every 2 weeks to I didn't have one for a good 2.5 months, all because of the Lily and Loaf supplements. It was helping. It was good. They're great. They still are, and I will continue to advocate them until the cows come home. There's a link in the description down below. In fact, I've even generated a supplement kind of checker kind of thing. There'll be a link down there. Anyway, back to my point. So it was balancing really well. The supplements, the weight loss, the inflammation of the Mounjaro, all working really well. What seems to have tipped it over the edge was For the first time in 13, 14 months, I had a random craving. And me thinking I was being a good boy and being healthy, I didn't want to order a takeaway for something naughty. I thought, okay, let's say my normal takeaway is 25, 30 quid. I want a cheese toasty. That's all I wanted. A cheese toasty. Cheese, ham, bread, toasted. In any other situation, not a problem. Cheese sandwich, not a problem, right? But obviously, all these things had started stacking up. I'd already got kind of gallstones kind of sat in there, floating around, waiting. And so I bought a toasty maker, just a George Foreman grill, because it's the healthier option. It drains off like excess fat. It means I'm not buying a takeaway to justify one cheese toasty. The Foreman grill was £22. And it arrived the next day, and I made one cheese toasty, right? And because of my ADHD brain, once I have a craving in my head, I don't just want one cheese toasty, I want a few. Did I have a few in one day? No. I had one cheese toasty on Sunday. I had one cheese toasty on like Tuesday, and then one Thursday. Was it monster? No. It was just a normal cheese toasty. A couple of slices of cheese, a couple of slices of ham, right? I can't express enough that this wasn't the Mounjaro. This wasn't my diet. It was a combination of things slowly add up over time. And so, because of the additional cheese and the additional bread and already having gallstones kind of floating around waiting and pushing their luck, I started getting the back pain on Thursday evening. I'm like, okay, yeah, it's shit, but fine. Maybe I haven't drunk enough water today. I've been struggling taking my daily medications because I've either been busy or whatever, right? So I started strolling around my flat, drinking a bit more water, tidying up things. I tried to go to bed. Come 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night, it couldn't happen. It led to the normal thing where I just feel absolutely crap. So I've vomited come 2 o'clock-ish, but now the pain has got to a solid 8 out of 10. And once again, this is normally where blokes are like, right, I'll do whatever I want. I'll solve it, I'll fix it. I hopped in the bath because hot water and relaxation and stuff like that. I walked around, I drank a lot of water, everything, absolutely fucking everything. Had another bath at about 5 o'clock. It just wasn't shifting, it was getting worse. And I couldn't figure out why. Because in the past, as I said, like since I started taking these Lillian Loaf supplements and everything else, I could feel that twinge. I'd make sure I've taken everything. It'd clear itself in a couple of hours. This wasn't going anywhere. And then I found out why. As it's building up to 5 o'clock and I am in absolute fucking agony, I flash back to a conversation I had with a friend. Hello, Carol. I doubt you watch these videos, but hello, Carol. She's a former NHS nurse from Wales. She's been in my life for many, many, many years. She is married to my first ever business partner and a very, very dear friend of mine and mentor. She said a couple of months ago, please, Alan, gallbladders aren't to be fucked with. If you have any problems within the next month or so, then, reach out for help, contact someone, dial 999, that kind of thing. And that's when I'd, done the ChatGPT thing and I'd got all the supplements and stuff. So I went well past that month, month and a half, 2 months, not a problem, 2.5 months. And I thought, yeah, but now the voice was ringing in my head. I'm like staring at my phone, 5 o'clock in the morning, 5:30, 5:45, 10 to 6. And I was like, right, if this does, typical bloke fashion, if this doesn't clear itself in 10 minutes, That's it. But if it clears itself in 10 minutes, I'm fine. And then I'll deal with this when the world ends. It didn't go anywhere. And now I had to do the one thing that terrifies me, which is ask for help from other people. And I really suck at doing that. So I dialed 999. The lady on the phone was very kind, very caring. I get the sense that they deliberately ask some of the same questions over and over to keep you focused. Two big burly men showed up at my door, in which I'm already awkward and uncomfortable about the size of my own body, even now. So even while I was in immense pain, I was trying to get changed before they arrived, because I didn't want to embarrass myself. They took bloods. They jabbed me. They put little tabs on my chest, because obviously you have to phone up for an ambulance and say, hey, I've got chest pains. And then after about 10 minutes, they helped me into the ambulance to A&E and a surgical assessment ward. Now, in the UK, for anyone that's in America, we get our healthcare for free. Why? Because we didn't throw tea bags into Boston Harbour and tell the English people to fuck themselves. So it's your fault that you have to pay for it all. We pay for our healthcare through national insurance. So basically, when we earn money, a small slice of our income's already taken away within taxes. We don't have to do our own tax returns. It's done for us if you're in a normal 9 to 5 job. And as a self-employed person, you file your tax returns and it's calculated and you pay it that way. So we're very lucky in the UK, even if they do fuck around with it as politicians, that we've got a healthcare system that's free. So they dropped me off in this surgical assessment unit. They've taken my bloods. They highlighted that I've got high inflammation markers and an infection. I was sat in that room for like 12 hours. They pulled me into an ultra scan to check that I weren't pregnant. That's what it feels like. They laid me down, they scanned me, they put a load of snail gel on me, and then I was called back into the consultancy office, and basically my inflammation markers were high, and I was told the waiting list is 9 months, but there is a few infection markers here that we're not quite sure of. Now, basically, because I'd once again been self-medicating with supplements from Lillian Loaf and enzymes and milk thistle and stuff like that ChatGPT had helped me with, I was able to keep the inflammation down up until now, but the stone had got stuck now. Not only was it damaging, but it was swelling. So she said, I'll refer to the consultant, the surgeon. We'll try and find you a bed. I was very, very nicely put on a ward, and then at 1 o'clock in the morning, which would now be Saturday morning, UK time, they moved me to a ward, and they said, you've got a problem, and we can't, we could send you home with pain medication, but yeah. And I was like, just please, no, I can't deal with this for night. This is horrible. This hurts. So next morning, surgeon woke me up. I was in pain. I was on fucking codeine and morphine, which, by the way, turns your pee purple. I had the craziest dreams, and the surgeons went, right, we haven't had any emergencies coming overnight, so you or our emergency surgery, we're going to up. So I went in, they've cut my gallbladder out. They told me that basically the gallbladder that was supposed to be the size of 2 eggs was now the size of a fucking grapefruit, and that if the consultant surgery hadn't listened to my requests and hadn't been so diligent, then my gallbladder would have popped in 2 days and I would have been in here anyway, but in a much worse fashion. I've never gone into a surgery and come out in less pain. I've had 2 hernia operations over the course of my life. I've had a hiatus hernia, which is like a belly button hernia, and an inguinal hernia, which is, it kind of moves down into the ballsack region. They're kind of all weaknesses in the stomach lining wall. Every time I've gone in for a hernia operation, I've come out and I've been in fucking horrific pain. Why? Because they're additive surgeries. In other words, they add things to you. They go in, they move stuff around, they add a mesh to hold the bowel. In this case, I went in and it was a removal. So I went in with a fucking grapefruit-sized gallbladder and came out with nothing. And I woke up. I've got 3 bullet holes. There you go. Bullet hole, bullet hole, bullet hole, and a belly button. And I feel much better than I did for the hernia. I'm still taking it very careful, and I'm resting up now. But yeah, I'm feeling better. I'm on codeine. I'm on antibiotics. There was 2 infections, 2. And once again, all of this was helped by the fact that the Mounjaro helped with the anti-inflammation, you know? So if this gallbladder attack had happened before I started taking Mounjaro, it would have accelerated. The gallbladder wouldn't have taken 3 days to popping. It would have fucking exploded so much faster. If I hadn't been taking the Lean Loaf supplements, if I hadn't been trying to look after myself, then I would have been in serious trouble. So I can't express enough. But the underlying story here is, do not use ChatGPT to self-diagnose as your only option, dickhead. I should have self-diagnosed, or I should have done the research and then asked for help to confirm, not take it as gospel. I've got codeine. I've got 2 forms of antibiotics. These are anti-clotting jabs that I need to take for a couple of weeks. And the question is, can I still take Mounjaro after gallbladder surgery? Yes, you can. In fact, one of the reasons why they might even reject you going on a GLP1 from day one is that you might get a gallbladder issue if you had previous problems. Now, in other words, if you have pre-existing issues, it can cause a problem and they should monitor you. Now I don't have a gallbladder. I cannot get gallbladder issues because there's no gallbladder. I won't get gallstones, or if I do, I eliminate them differently. I'm at much less risk. So, can I go back on GLP-1? Yes. Will I be going back on GLP-1? Yes. How long am I going to wait? I'm probably going to give it a month or 2. Am I going to go back on the larger dose? No. Why? Because I'm going to have been off it for a couple of months. So, ironically, I get to drop down from 15 milligrams to maybe 2.5 or 5 milligrams. So I get to rescale back up that ladder. So the benefits of Mounjaro here have helped me. I've lost weight. And ironically, the reason why I was having more and more gallbladder issues is because I was trying to lose weight and be healthy. So I promised this rather long deep dive is 25 minutes of you sitting down and drinking cups of tea. I very, 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 very much appreciate all of the wonderful, kind words that my community, the comment section, have all been posting over the last 2-3 days, and they've been checking up on me. I love you all. Now, I will be making a comprehensive questions on gallbladder stones. How you know you've got it, how you fix it, what the pain is, can I be on Mounjaro, that kind of thing. I'm going to condense it all into one kind of video. If you have any questions about gallstones or gallbladders, let me know and I'll add that to the list. I'll also be generating a video very soon about how to protect a gallbladder and how to help your body after you've had gallbladder removal as well. So before, during and after. So if you like the idea of any of those videos, hit subscribe. If you want to be part of the community that was sending me a lot of love, there is a link in the description down below. I thank you very, very much. And yeah, Mounjaro and GLP1 saved my life. Tell you what, that's a really good YouTube title, isn't it? I'm Alan. I'm losing it. And that means weight and a gallbladder. Boop.